Story 1. Not at all. I'm old enough to have lost friends already. Getting old is a luxury they didn't get. Semi-related. Guys approaching their 40s, go get yourself a checkup once in a while, especially if something feels off. Story 2. I am approaching 80, so that ship has sailed. I finally feel old, and I can tell you that I do not like it. I felt pretty good until just a few years ago. Now not so much. However, I enjoy my children and grandchildren. The country seems to be going downhill, and that is upsetting. Not to mention most of my friends have died. It is not as much fun as you might expect. Story 3. Not really. Getting older means more clarity, better boundaries, and caring less about what does not matter. Sure, the knees creak, but the mindset levels up. Story 4. My own aging does not bother me. What bothers me is the perception of everyone else around me. From strangers to friends to parents, people are constantly commenting about my age and aging in a negative way. Story 5. Yes and no. I do not care much about unimportant things and feel mentally less stressed. However, the physical aspect of aging is difficult. Story 6. Yes, turning 54 this year. The older I get, the more I realize youth is wasted on the young. I grew up as a Generation X hoodlum. Now I understand what my father meant when he said, "A hard head will make for a sore backside at the end of the day." Climbing out of bed feels like a supersized bowl of Rice Krispies. Snap, crackle, and pop in every joint. This reply is brought to you by Aleve and caffeine. Story 7. In the words of Haley Williams, the thought of being old makes me want to die. But those are pretty much the only two choices, and as far as we can tell, everyone gets to die someday anyway. We might as well try to find happiness until it happens. Story 8. No. Time will take everything from us eventually, so I will not give it the pleasure of my angst or worry. Story 9. 64 and not bothered at all. I mean, sure, every once in a while I think about, I am running out of time too. But on the other hand, I am pretty tired anyway. Story 10. Even if I did worry about it, what could I do? It is a waste of energy to worry about aging, and damn it, energy is becoming more and more limited. Story 11. No, I am evolving into my old cranky man persona. I am ready to hop on that casket and go wherever it takes me. I am tired. Story 12. For a while, I felt overwhelmed by time. It seemed like life was moving too fast with little to show for it. I wondered what I was doing with my life since it is so short. This thought haunted me. Then I got together with my now wife, and it stopped bothering me as much. Time feels more valuable now, but I am less concerned about how I spend it. Story 13. No, I am ever evolving and my body changes with my soul. I am starting to get wrinkles on my forehead and cheeks because of the expressions I make. It is cool to see my body change in response to my personality. Aging is a gift, and the world tries to make you forget that by glorifying youth. Story 14. 31 and no. The parts that come with it, like a bad knee and worse hangovers, are unpleasant, but I am still excited for my 40s and 50s. Story 15. Yes, it bothers me sometimes. I keep reminding myself how lucky I am to be able to grow older considering the state of the world. Many do not get the chance. Story 16. Yes, because older means closer to death, and I still have a lot of things I want to do before I leave for good. Story 17. Yes, because I have many regrets in life and am not seeing anyone. I have a good job and save money but fear not having enough to retire in a few years like my friends already are. I fear I will never find love again at my age. Story 18. No, you cannot stop it, so just do not worry about it. If that is the worst thing you have to worry about, I envy you. Story 19. No. I hear about all the people who have died younger than me and consider myself blessed to have the opportunity to continue. Story 20. I was self-destructive in my 20s. I did not think I would see 30, for real. I celebrated my 30th birthday happy, healthier, and seeing every year after that as a victory. I turned 50 in October and could not be prouder or happier. Story 21. Being bothered about it is not going to change it and will not reverse things. The best thing to do is to go along for the graying, joint-aching ride. Story 22. No, in fact, I am happy about it. I feel like I have lived during the best of times, and things look like they are only getting worse. In fact, I feel bad for younger people because they will never have it as good as I did. Story 23. No. My 30s have been a lot more peaceful than my teens and 20s. I am appreciative that I get the opportunity to experience this. Story 24, of course. That does not only mean that I am getting older. It also means that my parents are getting older as well. I know it will be inevitable, but I will never be ready enough to let them go. Story 25. Yes. I was very happy when I was younger. Now time seems to speed up, and I have no idea who I am anymore. Story 26. Yes and no. 57 million. Looks like I can retire next year, and I am in good shape physically and financially, so I am very grateful for all that. My wife is my best friend, and we still have strong feelings for each other after 10 years. A second marriage, and we love traveling together. I like that I have the answers to many of the questions people younger than me ask themselves. Where will my career go? What would happen if I followed my passion? Who will I marry? Will I divorce? Who are my good friends? However, I agree with another poster that perceptions of other people can be bothersome, but there is nothing I can do about that, and I am enjoying my life too much to care. Story 27. A little. I am an atheist. Dying is not really at the top of my list of enjoyable activities, but it is a fact of life until we figure out how to overcome it. I just do not want to get old and lose mobility and satisfaction in life. Story 28. Literally had a dream earlier this week that I was wearing a t-shirt that said, "I am 20 years old." And someone asked, "Are you really only 20? I had a panic attack realizing I am turning 30 this year. Funny dream, but apparently I was more bothered than I realized. Story 29. No, I am 30 but still look like a young adult. I am short and have a chubby baby face. I cannot wait to start looking my age. Story 30. There are things I wish I had started doing when I was younger so that I could be further ahead in life. Overall, no. My age and mistakes have made me who I am, and I like who I am. Story 31. If you are not getting older, then you are dying young. Why get upset about something you have no control over? Story 32. No, I am 46 but still behave and feel like 21. People used to tell me I was too smart for my age when I was 21. Story 33. It's not so much my age that bothers me, but that I'm at this stage in life without a partner or children. All I really have is work. Story 34. No, aging has been good to me. I am more spiritually aware, happier, and more at peace. I also take care of myself, so I do not feel any different. The only drawback I see is that society tells you aging is bad. But what other people think is none of my business. Story 35. Only a little bit. Having to deal with 90-year-old parents who are losing it physically and mentally is like a cold slap in the face of what is to come in the next 30 years. That is really the hardest part. Story 36. I am running out of time to achieve goals and enjoy hobbies. I want to write stories, go on long and strenuous hikes, build elaborate Lego scenes, ride roller coasters, and zip lines. However, age will eventually take away my ability to do these things, and right now I don't have time for them because of work, bills, and family. Story 37. I have two options: grow older or pass away. At this time, I prefer to grow older. Ask me again in 5 years. Story 38. Yes, because I never thought I would make it past 18. No, because my body is decaying more and more each day. Story 39. Not that I am getting older, but sometimes I feel like I missed many things and opportunities in life that I am now too old for. Story 40. At 47, I have more aches and pains than I used to, which is not nice. On the positive side, the perception of time speeds up as you get older, so the more painful second half of my life will be over quicker than the first half. Story 41. I am not bothered by getting older, but I am annoyed by the disrespect I receive from younger people I work with. They make jokes at my expense and think that I am slow-witted because I do not engage with them. Maybe I should, but it does not seem worth it. Story 42. Do not regret growing older. It is a privilege denied to many. I lost my father in his 50s. He had moved from a labor job into a sales role. He was always a people person and was brilliant at it. He seemed to be finding his groove and the confidence that comes with being good at something. Cancer took him during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a cruel world. Story 43. The only thing that bothers me is that I am now 2 years older than my father ever reached. He died at 41. It triggers a different kind of grief because I do not actually feel old. Life feels like it is stretching out in front of me, and he never got that chance. He would have retired a month ago. He and my stepmother should have just been starting their golden years. It is a strange feeling. Story 44. Sometimes I wonder if I have really enjoyed my life or what it might be like if I did what I truly wanted to do. Story 45. No, I always knew it was going to happen, and it is not like I woke up one day and realized I was 40. It has all happened gradually. Story 46. It only bothers me when I have sudden moments realizing my body is not as flexible or limber as it used to be, or that things take longer to heal. Story 47. No, I feel lucky. I struggled with major depression all my life and never thought I would survive or make it this far. I appreciate the wisdom and the release of pressures that I had when I was younger. Story 48. It is a double-edged sword. Sure, it is difficult not being able to see your children in their prime with their own children. I am 50 with a 7-year-old. But the upside is that my level of not caring is quite amazing. Nothing anyone says or does can hurt my feelings anymore. I have come to realize with age that when people speak negatively, it is not really about me. It is a reflection of them. Story 49. Hit 50 this year. Occasionally sobering to realize I probably have 15 good years left at best. But I have lived my life largely on my own terms, so I am just enjoying the ride. Story 50. No. Aging is a privilege many do not get. I think it is normal to recognize you are aging. Change can be challenging, but I prefer it to the alternative. Worrying about aging will only age you faster too. Story 51. No, but it bothers me that people are still being born. I am at work and a child will randomly mention it is their 10th birthday or something. And at first, I just say, oh cool, happy birthday. Then I realize they were born in 2015, and it is like we grew up in entirely different worlds. Story 52. It does actually, because I am going to be an adult soon, and I will not have free time for myself. It is just so busy, and I want to be a child again, not gonna lie. Story 53. No, because I realize the longer we live, the more straining everything becomes. I do not like the fact that I am breaking down, but oh well. Story 54. No, I always joke that I will be playing Mario Kart with my friend in the nursing home. Plus, people say I have the old man way of looking at things. Story 55. No, absolutely not. Because I love the idea that I never again have to go through the pain that youth and naivety brought to my life. I don't think I have ever looked back on my younger years and thought, oh, how I miss when I was such and such age. Honestly, I am grateful that part of my life is over. I am 49 years old now. I also believe humans are essentially souls carried by bodies and that we transition to a better life after this one if we remain spiritually healthy. So I look forward to something better, and getting older just brings me closer to that eternal spiritual peace. Story 56. Not really. I just turned 42. I am still fit, making great money, my daughter is at a fun age, and my wife and I still have a healthy relationship. All good. Story 57. It bothers me that there are young people with wealthy parents who will enjoy their youth in ways I will not experience until retirement, by which time I will be old and less energetic. Otherwise, not really, I guess. Story 58. No. I try not to worry about things I cannot do anything about. I do wish I had taken better care of myself when I was younger, though. Story 59. I enjoy the new experiences aging brings. The only downside for me is physical tiredness, and I miss old friends and the fun we used to have. Story 60. Yes, because I have just turned 18. This is the first turning point in most people's lives and where things begin to go wrong. Story 61. Not really. I am only 36, which by some may seem old, but if being middle-aged is 50, then I have another 14 years to get there. 14 years ago was 2011. Think back to where you were at that time and what you were doing. We have come a long way since then. Story 62. It does not bother me that I am getting older. Everyone has to take the same journey to the same destination. Some people reach that destination sooner than others, which is unfortunate. I am grateful for every day that I get to spend with my family. My husband was not so fortunate. He was killed in a tractor-trailer accident when he was 35. He never got to meet our beautiful granddaughter, and I lost my partner in life. Story 63. I have always wanted to grow up, create my own family, and have children. Now, I want to grow even more to enjoy my life beside them. I have not achieved this yet, but I am old and awake enough to do it. Story 64. No, because we are all doing it. I could resist it and stress out, which ages you faster. Or I could do it with a smile and make it awesome. Story 65. Yes, but mostly from a career perspective. I often wonder, I am 55. Shouldn't I be a manager? Shouldn't I be close to retiring? I am neither. Story 66. Yes, it does. Time is passing so fast, and it feels like I did nothing I wanted to. For example, 28 already and never had a boyfriend. At least I don't have to think about kids. Stuff like this kind of gets to you. So, the older I get, the less chance I have. Story 67. What else am I supposed to do about it? Live life. Be generous. Make people happy who can really use it. Spread love and cheer. That's just me, though. Story 68. Yeah, it does. I've been a certified nursing assistant and licensed practical nurse in geriatric care for 9 years. I meet people when they are still mentally alert, walking, talking, telling stories and laughing. Then I watch them slowly decline and succumb to age. One day, they don't walk quite as far as they did the last. Then, before I know it, they are entirely wheelchair-bound. One day, they can't remember what they had for breakfast. Then, before I know it, they don't know who they are anymore. One day, they spill their coffee. Then, before I know it, they can't feed themselves. One day, we meet. Then, before I know it, I am gently washing their frail, lifeless body. I am with them while they beg to die because they have no one left, nothing of their own, and nothing to live for. Witnessing the human body age so quickly and the suffering age brings is something I want no part of. This may be a little extreme, as these people are 60 to 105 years old. But in general, I have noticed my own body declining while I inch closer to 30. People say, "Oh gosh, you are still just a youngster." Yeah, I might be, but it's hard to accept the little things I have noticed changing. Story 69. I am old enough to be bothered by the misuse of English unique to Reddit. Does anyone agree? Please share your thoughts. Story 70. Does not bother me one bit. I am in my early 40s, with a wife and beautiful children, and I could not be happier. I work in an intensive care unit department, and I am well aware of how lucky I am to be able to go home every day. Story 71. No, but it bothers me that my parents are getting older. They get around great, but I know someday they will be the stubborn, "I can still do it" parents. Story 72. I hate it. I hate that we have to work so hard for so long with so little reward. I hate that I'm hot all the time because of menopause, and my joints ache so much that sometimes I can't sleep. I know you can see your doctor and they will prescribe pills that may help and may or may not have side effects, but I am financially struggling, so there is no health care and no going to a doctor. I hate that I didn't act when I was young to leave this state. I hate looking at my crepey skin and how my hair is thinning. My once glorious red hair is fading to gray, and I am afraid one day I will wake up looking very old. I hate that I can't keep up with what is cool and fashionable, and I hate how young people look through me like I am invisible. I hate that 4 of my 5 closest friends have died, and the 5th one embraced extreme political views a while back and now thinks I am the Antichrist. There are some good things about getting older, but mostly no, I don't like it. At least I am still alive, and I love that the most. Story 73. Yes, of course it bothers me. I can't believe how many people are saying no. I am 54 and have hit menopause. My body hurts and I am tired all the time. I am okay not being married, but I don't have a lot of close family besides my parents. My friends are spread out all over the country because I have moved a lot. I feel pretty isolated. It is hard to date and make new friends when you are 54 and your confidence is low. Story 74. Now with age comes wisdom. With wisdom comes the challenge to evolve further, and with evolution comes adaptation. I may not float like the butterfly I was in my prime, but I can definitely sting a lot more strategically and handle things more effectively. Story 75. Yes, but only because my health is in decline and I cannot do anything about it. Otherwise, it would be no bother. Story 76. I am 28 and like that I have freedom. I moved to Toronto a year ago from the United Kingdom alone, very spontaneously, and it is a lovely city. However, I hate that I feel so far behind everyone else. I have never had a serious partner, no career, no house, and no big friend group. I am introverted and have spent most of my time within my comfort zone. I do not feel confident enough to step out of it or approach others. The friends I have are few but good, so I just lean on them for support, but they are all getting busier and more adult as the years go by. I think books and films, as well as older, much more successful siblings, have raised me with an expectation of what my life should look like by now, and to be honest, I am sad I have not achieved anything. Story 77. It doesn't bother me because I still have my parents. I am 46, and my parents are living their best life right now. Story 78. No. I have had the best time of my life between ages 52 and 62, with more money, children taken care of, several girlfriends, lots of traveling, lovely grandchildren, and still drinking and enjoying life as if I were in my 20s. Story 79. I am turning 30 in a few months. Life is not perfect. There are many changes and challenges, but I have never felt better in my life. I will not miss my 20s, not at all. Being an adult and having actually figured out at least something is wonderful. Mentally, I have always felt around this age, and now my inner self and outer self are finally close. Growing older is a luxury. I have already lost some people who were not even middle-aged. I am determined to embrace any age I am lucky to reach. Story 80. It does not bother me at all. I do not celebrate it per se, but I at least know what life is. I have no clue, nor soon to know what happens after this. If it is nothing, that is peaceful. If it is eternal hell or heaven, that is unfortunate. Story 81. No. I miss the way my body felt when I was younger, but now that I am postmenopausal, I really feel like this is a second act of sorts. The wisdom, lessons, perspective, and peace are only things you accumulate as years go by, like the warp and weft of weaving fabric. As I get older, I can see the tapestry of my life, change what I want, and come back home to myself. Story 82. Yeah, it bothers me a lot. There is just so much I want to do in life, and I am pretty sure I will not have enough time to do it all. But it is okay. Story 83. I absolutely love it. I am 51 years old, and I have never been happier. I am the healthiest I have ever been, and I do not care about what people think. I spend my days walking around town between appointments and volunteer work with my rogue hair, while taking a couple of drags from my one-hitter every once in a while. I cover at least 10 miles a day walking. I never worry if I should be demure or respectful. I just do what I want and act how I feel. You should see how angry people get just because I am walking around with rainbow socks or something. I am truly loving being old. Story 84. I never have a problem getting older. The alternative is death. It really bothers me when people bemoan aging. Aging is a privilege. Story 85. Yes, it does. I read an article a long time ago, and it said that people in their 30s will have the most depressing time in their life. It is true. I am 32 now, and most of my family and the older people I always looked up to when I was a kid are gone now. Getting old is difficult. Story 86. Yes, only because as time goes on, you begin losing the people you love, and I was not entirely prepared for that. Sorry to be such a downer, but it is true, and I wish all young people realized this. Story 87. Very much so. I'm 57, but I don't look it, feel it, or act like it. I do, however, have some age-related physical issues, including very severe degenerative disc disease, as my doctor describes it, as well as arthritis throughout my body. When I say I don't feel it, I mean in my head I don't feel 57. I'm just now reaching the point where I accept and enjoy being myself. I like the person I've become. I'm quirky, and I finally think that's cool. I'm not ready to be old. I may never be ready to be old. Tomorrow, I'm marrying my fiancée who is 25 years younger than me. I'm afraid I'll start aging sooner rather than later, and that he'll feel like he's saddled with an old hag. I talk about it, and he reassures me that he is not shallow, and it is not my appearance that attracts him most, but my mind and my heart. This is something I will have to work through. It's up to me to get my mind into a better place about it. After all, aging beats the alternative. Story 88. I mean, do I wish I had my 25-year-old body back? Obviously, but I am grateful I have gotten to live this long. Getting old is difficult, but it is one of the greatest luxuries many people do not get to experience. Anytime I complain about my back hurting in the morning or that I cannot lift as much as I did 10 years ago, I remember millions of people are not lucky enough to make it this far. Story 89. Honestly, no. I enjoy the new levels of maturity I am experiencing as I age. I do not like the aches and pains I get now, but that can be worked on. Story 90. Aging really does not bother me. It is the health problems that keep piling up that are bothering me, probably from not taking care of myself in my younger years. Story 91. No, I don't think I look or feel as old as I am at 58, so whatever. I'm having a great time and plan to for some time to come. Story 92. Why should it? We are not getting any younger, folks. Yes, I may be almost in my mid-30s, but I know for sure I am not getting any younger. Story 93. I'm pretty much mixed on it, leaning more towards it doesn't bother me most of the time. I'm the youngest in my family, and I guess for me the difficult part is realizing that seeing myself age means my mom is definitely aging too, which makes me a bit sad at times. I definitely don't want to lose her and don't know what I would do without her. But I understand that aging is part of the journey, and I'm just glad I get to share many moments with her. I just have to try to breathe through my anxiety and focus on the positives. Story 94. I am not really bothered by the fact that I am getting older. I am just bothered by the feeling that I have not accomplished anything meaningful with my life. Story 95. No, I love the wisdom and sense of calm that has come with aging. Also, I am excited for many new things I have yet to discover and do. Sometimes I catch my reflection and think, who is that? Because the outside does not at all match how I feel on the inside. But all in all, I am not bothered, do not fear dying, and am grateful for every day. Story 96. No, the pain in my joints is unpleasant, but why let it bother you? Keep going, you never know what tomorrow will bring, good or bad. Story 97. Damn, going against the grain here, but it is disappointing. As a weekend warrior, the aches and pains interfere with my leisure activities, and I absolutely hate waking up with any issues. At this point, 62 years old, something always hurts or feels uncomfortable. Feet, knees, hands, back, you name it. I still hit the gym 5 days a week and am told I look good for my age, but I terribly miss those days of waking up pain and discomfort free. Story 98. Of course it bothers me, especially the part where the body is starting to irreversibly deteriorate in multiple ways, such as problems with joints and spine. It really sucks when you still want or need to do some physical activity but cannot do that anymore, or have to frequently rely on strong painkillers that all have serious side effects. Story 99. I am in my 70s. I still swim and bike, but I have to admit that I miss the strength I used to have. I have had a great life and still enjoy it, but I just cannot do what I used to be able to do. Can be frustrating at times. However, I still get a lot of enjoyment out of life. I do not mean to sound pessimistic, but sometimes you just have to realize that you cannot do what you used to do. I am pretty sure I will not qualify for the Olympic team this year. Story 100. It is not a bother. I knew it was coming. Bothering means dealing with uninvited and unwelcome things. Age happens. I do not like it, but it is what was expected. If you actually get old and are bothered by it, you have made an error that your years should have been sufficient to address. Fix that. Story 101. Mostly just the annoying stuff like dietary restrictions I never had before and things hurting for what seems like no reason. Sometimes I remember some of the freedom and relative lack of responsibilities fondly, though that was not always great either. Story 102. It does not bother me because many people I grew up with are gone. We grew up in a town that is a cancer cluster because of the carpet industry. I am grateful to be able to grow older and grateful I left that town before it happened to me. If you value your health, do not put carpet in your home. Story 103, Yes and No. As an aging Division I college athlete, I'm lamenting my increasing physical limitations and pain. Some bodily changes are alarming, and I'm fighting them tooth and nail. No growing old gracefully here, but my life experience has made me much more aware of the bigger picture. It has brought me to a more humble and appreciative place in my life. I have realized family is everything, and focusing on making my children as successful as I possibly can has become paramount and rewarding. Focus changes, priorities change. I have grown and learned to embrace this evolution, and I believe I am winning. Story 104. The only thing that bothers me about getting older is that my post-cancer body is starting to deteriorate at a much faster rate. I did not have back problems until I was in my mid-20s, but that was manageable. Then, around the time I turned 30, I strained myself so hard that my back became a near-constant problem. Such is the nature of aging. Story 105. Yes, in some ways. I've had back pain and hip problems starting when I was 14 years old. I had a massive growth spurt, growing about 12 inches in 2 years. I am now 26, still with aches and pains. Since I grew so much so fast, I have stretch marks on my back, and apparently my muscular system couldn't keep up with this rapid growth. My rib cage is deformed. Luckily, it is not causing any medical issues, but a tremendous amount of bullying and my ribs being so unsightly has diminished my confidence. I can't help but feel like my fun youthful years have been robbed by a ridiculous amount of growth and pain. Story 106. I'm not as pretty as I used to be, but I'm not trying to impress anyone except my wife these days anyway. Story 107. No. Far too many of my friends were denied the privilege of growing older. I owe it to them to make the most of the gift of life. Story 108. No, the job I got, which I worked hard for years to achieve, is a big reason why. I feel fulfilled, not like I am climbing to reach anything anymore. That is why getting older does not bother me at all now. Story 109. It's hard to explain. I didn't expect to be here. I've been a professional musician for many years. Since I was in my mid-teens, I became convinced I would die around age 27, for obvious reasons. The night before my 27th birthday, I had a massive panic attack out of nowhere, the only one I've ever had that acted like that. A friend gave me a medication for anxiety, which I proceeded to drink heavily on top of, and I got through it. 2 weeks after my 30th birthday, I essentially dropped dead due to years of alcohol abuse. The hospital managed to get me back. Today is actually 2 years clean from alcohol for me. I don't feel much different than I did at, say, 19. I'm about to be 33. I've lived a vast amount of life in that interim, but how much of it is really important? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I've achieved a lot, moved mountains. Other times, even within the same day, I feel like I haven't accomplished a single thing since qualifying for the district spelling bee in middle school. I don't feel like I belong in this world, like I'm some kind of completely different organism trying, and being expected, to blend in with the humans around me. I can see in my head a beautiful world. It's a lot like ours, but also much different. Wherever that is, I'm supposed to be there. I don't know if it's real or something that's accessible in some way, be it through death and moving on to it, or it's some kind of memory of something that existed before somewhere. Anyway, I guess I'm ambivalent about aging. I don't notice it as much as others seem to. Paying attention to it isn't a high priority. Story 110. Not at all. I just turned 70. I am glad to be finished with the responsibilities of work and raising children. I am enjoying my life. Story 111. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I really do not care about the number. I care that if I work in my backyard for 3 hours, I have to stretch and massage various parts of my body and then lie down for the rest of the day. It bothers me that my body is starting to break down, but I am at peace with who I am overall. Story 112. Not really. I'm almost 60 and measure my life in experiences. Always have. When I was a child, an adult told me that as you age, you mostly regret the things you haven't done. Stuck with me. By the time I was 30, I had climbed a live volcano, directed national television, slept with a movie star, performed a trap landing on an aircraft carrier, met with members of Congress at the Capitol to discuss educational television policy, and married a professional ballerina. At 30, I became a lawyer and focused on my career and family. I wrote several well-known law books in my field, and I am now a law professor. So no, the part one love about my age is all the things I have done. Story 113. Getting older doesn't bother me as much as feeling like I am going to be alone after a while. I am 37 now, and it feels like many of my friends have outgrown me. Now I am a caregiver for my grandmother who is 85, but I feel as if there will be no one else. Story 114. I don't like it. I'm getting older and sicker regardless of how I treat my body. Bald at 18, hip surgery by 24, multiple sclerosis by 29, knee surgery at 31. It's easy for me to see the choices I should have made that I didn't, and I feel stuck in the middle of my life while being sick. I don't know how to escape or improve. Story 115. No, actually, I knew people who never made it to my age. Now, the goal in life is basically to keep breathing. Story 116. Yes, it does bother me. Things are harder to do. I have had to quit some hobbies because of how my body reacts to them. I am happier than I have ever been, but the pain and limitations that come with being middle-aged are not fun. Story 117. Just turned 35. Honestly, I struggle with it immensely. It is difficult to watch your body deteriorate, your friends move on, and your career growth slow. It is hard to know that tomorrow is just going to be a worse version of today. Story 118. No, I was not very smart for a long time. I am definitely becoming a person I am proud to be as time goes on. I do wish girls were still kind in public restrooms. I'm not sure if it's an age thing or if girls just stop being sweet to each other in the bathroom. But it makes me sad when I say something nice and get looked at with disdain. Story 119. Hell yeah. Keep getting body parts removed. Gallbladder is gone. Now they want to take my thyroid. What's next? My kidney? My eyes? My legs? I'd like to go straight back to my 20s when my body parts weren't failing me. I am someone who eats relatively healthy and exercises regularly. I got shafted with bad luck or bad genes. Story 120. Well, I almost died a couple of times a year ago and don't remember nearly anything before. I call myself old because I don't care, and effectively half my life is over and I don't remember it. Otherwise, I enjoy getting older. Story 121. Yes, I know my time is shorter than before. I cannot do many of the things I used to be able to, and I am in pain. There are benefits, but I would trade much to be youthful again. Story 122. What bothers me the most is not the age itself, but the fact that now I am old enough to know that everything I was led to believe about how the world works is basically false. Work hard equals money? No. Bad politicians get voted out or punished? No. The justice system is equal for all? No. No one is crazy or stupid enough to do that. No. At this point, I am just lost and going from day to day wondering what will happen next. Younger people live in the illusion that they will figure it out. That is what I miss. Story 123. It used to be, but not anymore. It is much easier, more peaceful, and easygoing. The older you get, the less you have to worry about drama and everything you really care about or want in your life. Now, I live life at my own pace, mind my own business, stay out of everyone else's, and do what brings me happiness, joy, and peace. Story 124. Not at all. I am officially in my grandmother era now that my stepson is a father, and my other children are all adults about to leave for college. I feel like my husband and I are about to embark on the next phase of life, and it is very exciting. Story 125. Not really, except that the natural red hair I have had all my life is starting to turn gray. So I have people saying, "Oh, you have something in your hair. Never mind. I am never going to dye my natural red hair because it is natural. If it is going gray, it is going gray. I am just less shiny in the sun now." Story 126. Yes, because I have not achieved what I wanted to achieve at my age yet, and I do not like that many things are changing and becoming nostalgic. Story 127. I want to grow up to have more freedom. Something that annoys me is that as a 14-year-old male, I have only basic rights. At the same time, I am not motivated to support myself. Story 128. It bothers me that others are getting older. I talked to a friend the other day about her upcoming wedding, and all I could think was, I changed your diaper when you were a baby. Story 129. Not really. I am 47. I have a successful career. I have lived all over the world. I have a gorgeous wife and two high-achieving, good-looking kids. I am all right. Story 130. Not at all. Aging is a privilege, and I am grateful for every wrinkle because they are traces of the life I have lived. Story 131. Yes, because I do not feel mentally different than I did as a child, and I am worried about getting sick as I grow older. Story 132. No, I am in my prime at 32 years old. I have a 2-year-old and plan to add one more child eventually. I think I will not really feel it until my kids get older. For now, I am just enjoying the ride. Story 133. No, it does not bother me getting older. One who is bothered should know that it is a natural phenomenon. Why not? As already mentioned, it is a natural phenomenon, and there are other advantages. Being older naturally makes a difference because of life experience. Education and knowledge are less beneficial than experience. Secondly, your education and knowledge are in one particular field, but life experience is vast. Story 134. It does a bit, but not appearance-wise. I am happy with aging. I am not happy about the years I cannot get back, though. There are many things I wanted to do and achieve growing up, but I realized that age has nothing to do with the could-haves and the should-haves. It is what I can do now, going forward, that will make me happy. Story 135. Not really, it is a privilege to grow old. We all get to be young, but not all of us get to be old. That said, time does go quickly, and I wish it slowed down. Story 136. Not at all. I have outlived my mother by 35 years. She was so young. I wish I could have had her longer, but it has made me appreciate the number of years I have lived. Story 137. Yes, but only when I look at it and realize how fast time has gone by. Like, yeah, I am 45, but I was 25 like yesterday. Story 138. No. What is the alternative? Do not waste time worrying about something you cannot control. Live in the moment. Story 139. Absolutely not. I am healthier and happier than I have ever been and went through a lot to reach my 40s. I earned my place here. You enjoy life a little more and learn to slow down when it passes so quickly. It is not bad. Story 140. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you are older, shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. Pink Floyd says it best. If I were going to be worried about it, I would have started earlier. This is coming from an older man who just took his daughter to a Metallica concert. She absolutely loved it. I kind of enjoy growing older, but I am not like most people. Story 141. I would be deeply bothered if there was a single thing I could do about it. There isn't, so it doesn't. Story 142. Not really, I have too much on my plate to care about age. Being stressed out about what is enabled is not going to stop it from happening. You will just have more things to worry about. Story 143. Only having to face the possibility of not seeing my children very much as I grow older. Struggling with how quickly they are growing up hurts me more than my own aging. Story 144. It's a privilege. I am only as old as I think I am, and like Peter Pan, I refuse to always be grown up. I grew up with many senior citizens around me. Through them, I learned that the mind is a powerful tool. If you believe you are old, then you are old. If you believe you are young, then you are young. The antics that the young seniors got into are my inspiration to live every day being young at heart, wise in knowledge, and fun to be around. Story 145. No. I am a little behind and would like to get caught up, but having started a new decade of life feels like a fresh start. Story 146. Today I am glad that I am old. America is being destroyed. I cannot do anything about it except vote, but I hope that I can die peacefully before I need major health care or a nursing home. Story 147. Yes, because my body gets sore for no reason. Aches and pains are becoming more common and last longer. Plus, my hair is getting gray, and I do not like that either. I miss my black hair. Story 148. What bothers me about getting older is that I am getting closer to losing people who make pushing forward feel worthwhile amid all the chaos and turmoil in our world. Story 149. Without a doctor, I am going to die in my 40s. My opinion on my aging does not matter when it is simply that bad. Story 150. When I was younger, I was upset about getting older. But now, with 2 chronic illnesses and being 35 years old, I am happy for every day that I get to see with my husband, 2 dogs, and a cat. Story 151. Not even a little bit. Growing old is a luxury not afforded to everyone. I lost many friends in my teens and 20s and nearly lost my own life in an accident. I am thankful for every day I get, even the bad ones. Story 152. Does not bother me at all. I will be 40 in December. I thought I would have killed myself before I reached my 30s. I have bipolar type 2 disorder. I really did not anticipate making it here. I do not have a massive love for life and still hope I will die someday soon. But I am a good aunt to my nieces and nephews and hope that is enough to keep me going. Story 153. I am 35 years old. I am actually excited for my 40s and 50s. I lost my parents at 21 and 24 and got divorced at 27. I am remarried now at 35 and have a decent job, lots of savings and investments. I also do not care anymore about what anybody thinks. As you get older, you do not really care. You reach a point where you have been there, done that. You just want to move to another country. My wife and I want to retire in Ireland. Story 154. Well, you are going to get older regardless, so why get upset? Why obsess over something that you cannot change? I am just fine with aging. I am content. Story 155. I read all the replies here and can confirm. Any day above ground is a good day. Physical aging has not been too bad at all. But I have to say that other people frustrate me about getting older. I am over 60 and still in the workforce. I am very proud of my accomplishments and I work because I am good at what I do. Once I turned 60, it was like suddenly I was irrelevant to anyone in the workplace under 40. Being heard is harder and harder. I am an invisible person who is brought out to fix messes and answer hard questions, then put away until needed. I am not saying every idea I have is great, but I have knowledge to share and analysis to offer the team. I am not stupid. I welcome new approaches and new ideas. I am committed to continual learning and upskilling, and I am not afraid of change. Most days, it seems to me that my gray hair signals I have nothing to offer. That bothers me. Story 156. Honestly, for me, every day is one day less until I get to see my aunt again. I genuinely cannot wait. I miss her so much. Story 157. I hate it on one hand, but given the current state of the world, how much fun I had when I was younger and the things I could do in the pre-internet, pre-Orange Monster days make me less depressed about getting older. It has been a good run, and I hope there is more. But if not, it is okay. Story 158. Nope, after 40 plus, you do not care what anyone thinks. Just do not be rude about it. You just nod and say yes. You do you, I do me. Age gracefully too. Stop trying to time travel to being 20 again. Story 159. No. But I do see others who started families or graduated and sometimes regret some decisions. I just feel like a late bloomer. I am making a goal for myself over the next 7 years to get my life together. Story 160. It is just really strange because your intuition and understanding of the world improve as your body deteriorates. Story 161. Yes. I have always wanted to be beautiful, and based on my personal beauty standards, that feels out of reach for me. It also feels like death is haunting me, hanging out in doorways and smirking when I make plans. I am sure that sounds dramatic, but it is true. Story 162. I have no concerns about getting older. It is called life, you deal with it and move on. Do not worry about things you cannot control. Story 163. No. My 40s have been a tremendous learning experience for me. It has been one profound realization after another, culminating from decades of experience and the pursuit of knowledge. My 40s have been the most fruitful, enlightening, and life-altering years yet. In many ways, I am getting younger but wiser as the years go on. Healthier, happier, and growing closer to inner peace. I would not trade these years for any amount of time in my 20s or any other decade. Story 164. I do not like it, but like every other human being and animal on the planet, I do not have a choice. My brain feels young. Story 165. No, I am kind of happy to be here to get older. I know almost as many people who did not make it to 50 as those who did. Choices made in younger years should have killed me but did not. Every day is a bonus. Story 166. Kind of. I had a really dark and abusive childhood, and it is hard not to look back and see so much lost time. I am in my mid-30s and just now getting my life together. Story 167. Yes. I hate it. It is very upsetting to me that eventually I will die. There are so many things to experience and so little time. When someone tells you time flies the older you get, it is 100% true and it is terrifying. Live your life because you only have one. Story 168. It's starting to bother me because even though I am physically fit and take care of myself, I am out of the deep end of the dating pool. I am single after a long relationship ended. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.